So if you want to get your head examined, people say that you're the expert, especially when it comes to concussions. Tell me.
Okay, I'm a chiropractor and I developed a technique for being able to correct the malposition of the bones in the skull. When you have a concussion, the force of the line of drive of the trauma is going to misalign the bones in the skull. And then all the symptoms that you get from concussion, whether it's headaches or brain fog, or blurred vision, or irritability, or poor memory, all of these things are because the skull's out of place, putting pressure on the brain. And the brain's not going to function well. If you do not correct the position of the bones in the skull, then those symptoms go on to become what we call post-concussion syndrome. And if you don't correct that, then you're a candidate for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
So basically a chiropractor would just use the spine and the parts of the body, but you're actually going to the bones in the skull, is that it?
Yeah, it's not only the medical profession that doesn't know what to do with these kind of things. They just tell you to wait and see because they don't know that the bones in the skull are even out of place. Now, and the same thing applies to the chiropractors. We've only taught about 1,200 chiropractors how to do this. So most chiropractors are just going to do your neck. But the issue is in your head. The head has been hit, the bones in the skull are out of place. So that's what causes the problems. So for every concussion, in order to reverse the symptoms, you have to get the bones in the skull put back into their proper position and allow the brain to function properly.
So how long is the process for recovery, depending on the severity of the incident?
Absolutely, everybody is different. It depends on how long it's been since the original injury and before you start treatment, and then how many injuries you've had. So the longer period of time between the accident and the correction and the number of injuries you've had is what makes it take longer. Everybody's different. Some people can respond in 3 weeks. Some people are 3 to 6 months, depending. Like we've done people that are 44 years ago, they had their concussion. The one fellow that's one of the examples in our book took 9 months to turn around. It was a gradual process. He got better as we went through, but he did have relapses because it had been there for so long.
So tell me about the book. You wrote a book on it.
This is my latest book on concussion. It explains the mechanism and how it works, and that the old thinking about concussion is not accurate at all, and that there are a number of things that happen inside the skull. With the line of drive, it doesn't just go straight through and back again. It goes in all different directions, up, down, and all around. So if you've had one concussion, it will send out impulses all through the brain, and the site of impact is going to be the worst, of course. But then if you get another concussion, then the impact will go throughout the brain and adversely affect the original ones. So the more concussions you've had, the easier it is to have them re-stimulated and the problems come back.
Tell me about your treatment protocol.
So the treatment protocol for a concussion is that we do the initial examination, determine which bones in the skull are out of place, and then set a treatment program for it. The more often we can see people in the beginning, the faster we can get them better. So we do intensive protocols. We have people come from all over the world. If they stay for 3 days or 6 days, we'll adjust them 5 times a day. And in 2 weeks, we've done 30 adjustments. You can pretty much correct anything. So there is a nutritional and a supplement component. When the skull is out of place, it interferes with the blood supply and oxygen supply to the brain. So you can't get the nutrients into the brain, so it doesn't function well. And then you don't get the toxins to come out of the brain. So when we open up that space, we want to make sure that we get good nutrition into the brain so it can regenerate brain cells. So we've written a book about the nutritional aspect and the supplement aspect for all different kinds of brain injuries. So there's certain supplements and certain diets that are specific for different kinds of head injuries. We've done a lot of work with special needs kids, so there's a full treatment protocol for them. We've done 62 nonverbal autistics that have been able to speak after their first adjustment. So
say that again?
We've had 62 nonverbal autistics speak after their first couple of adjustments.
That's incredible.
Yes, and now I've taught 1,200 chiropractors that do this, and we get feedback from the chiropractors we've taught. I've now had my 8th or my 10th, so it's not just me that's getting these results. So the technique is duplicatable by other chiropractors that have taken my program.
So by taking your, say, the diet, will that increase the recovery the results, or just the technique in itself?
Just the technique by itself will get amazing results. The diet by itself is not going to get amazing results because you're not opening up the space to get the nutrition in. It'll help a little bit, but you got to open up the space, get the bones back into position. Let me show you over here what that means. This is the normal space between the skull and the brain. This is where the blood supply, oxygen supply, and cerebral spinal fluid is to nourishes the brain. Now, when it gets knocked out of place like this one, it decreases that space. So you've got less space or less opportunity for the oxygen and the blood to get to the brain. So what we do is open up this space, and then we put the good nutrition and supplements in to regenerate brain cells. You can actually regenerate brain cells, which is a different concept than what we were taught. In school, we were taught that they don't regenerate. Now we know that they do.
And that's probably another book for you.
Not another book, it's just a part of what we do. That's all been proven scientifically that you can regenerate brain cells. The reason why it has taken so long to become public is because it takes 14 months to regenerate brain cells. So it's not something that happens overnight, so that's why it wasn't discovered until probably 10 years ago.
Right. Well, to get your head examined, your website is?
The patient website is turnerwellness.com, and the doctor's website is catsworkshop.com.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.